We have two of the members of the Fabulous Waters family, and they have so many credits that it would take the whole hour to give you their credits. You can see them on 20 Feet from Stardom, the documentary, and they appear on Avatar, the highest grossing movie of all time. They are on Whitney Houston's The Body, which is
The Bodyguard,
biggest selling soundtrack of all time. And of course, they're on Thriller, right? I mean, the greatest selling album of all time. And they're going to tell you we're going to hear about a lot of other stuff. So let's welcome them. We're happy to be here today with this group. Any Absolutely. Any vocal questions? We really hope that you guys want to get into that because this is a great opportunity.
Yeah, people are still joining right now, but we'll get some questions coming in a minute. Dad, do you have anything you want to ask maybe to get it started?
Yeah, no, I just...
what about you, Stephen?
I'd love for you to share with them more of the history before Michael, but about the Jackson 5, the Jacksons. I mean, you've gone through all of these different stages of their growth, you know, from being kids to being adults.
That's right.
So
that's true.
And so your experience with them as children, and then as it evolved to young adults, teenagers, to, you know, so that's pretty amazing. I mean, you're the only group of people that, on a creative level, I should say, in the studio, I think that's, you know, that went on that journey with them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anyone else has gone on that long of a journey with them creatively in the studio, other than your family.
Well, that's true. Especially creatively, musically, yes. Executively, no. But musically, yes. And it's funny, you should have stated that like that, Stephen, because that is so true. I was just thinking about that the other day when I was thinking about Michael and how he would come into the studio as a kid. We were recording a lot of the tracks for the Jackson 5, and we would he would come in and fly in and then go back out and stuff like that, and we would be in there working all night on I'll Be There and Got to Be There and Never Can Say Goodbye and stuff like that. So to see him develop from a child like that into someone who was very versed in producing music himself, with the Thriller and stuff, it was quite an experience to see the growth in him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, he shared a lot of those stories with me when we were outside of the studio, you know, and it just gives me chills to this day when I think about it, you know, him sharing what it was like for him when he moved here from Detroit and all of that, and went to Gardner Tree, and so.
Mm-hmm. So. Sure.
Okay, do you guys want to start taking some questions? Okay. Language Electric asks, there's a magic in family vocal harmonies. What excites you about getting
Well,
to the
you know,
studio
the timbres of family voices, for one thing. If you notice that a lot of family groups have been successful, excuse me, but it's because of the timbres. Just like you look at a family and you say, oh, you guys have eyes alike, or you have noses alike, or whatever, you know, you look alike. Well, you're the same thing on the inside also. So the vocal cords, the timbres of your voices, and that lends itself to, you know, doing really good harmonies together, because your vocal cords your vibratos can be the same, or what have you, you know. So it was like that with the, you know, the Jacksons. They were great, you know, at that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, remember, this came up in the podcast that you told us, you told Stephen and I that Michael told you that he related to singing with you guys because he came from a vocal family, and then you guys were a vocal family. So there was like an instant connection. And I mean, from me working with you guys, I just know it's for sure the natural stuff, like the vocals and the sounds and the blend, right? But also the fact that you sing all the time together, you just know when to come in, and you're always together. There's like an intuitive thing, you know what the other person's going to do, and you're so quick, and you know, you just know when you need to do vibrato and not. There's like
Thanks,
a
Anthony.
language that's going
One thing
on
that's
all the
a
time
contributor
without
to
talking.
that is that the way God has blessed us to have all four voices of a choir. We have one natural baritone bass, one natural tenor, one natural alto, and one natural soprano. So we don't have to assign each other vocal parts because God has already done that.
Right.
And he blessed us to have all four of the voices of a choir. And also for those that understand or that look into time frames of your birthright, we have one air sign, one water sign, one earth sign, and one fire sign as well. And so that's why whenever we talk a lot about God and stuff like that, because all our blessings come from God.
Yeah. You know, that they say, you know, that's the spiritual harmony that's going on.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's very important, the intuitiveness of that, because by us growing up together, it's always been a very diversified approach toward anything. Even as little kids, you know, what we're going to watch on television, what we're going to eat, what we're going to do, anything like that. So we have a diversified approach toward life and the music.
Yeah.
And so that has always been a contributing factor to us going in the studio to make a hit record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was always music, you know, growing up in our household, for one thing, because our music goes back a long ways with our family. My mother, my grandmother, my grandfather, you know, on my mother's side. We didn't really know my dad's side because he was killed in the service. But on my mother's side, it was just musical. So we always had music in our household, and she loved music and saw to it that, you know, we had the piano lessons and the cello and the voice lessons, because she had a beautiful voice.
Experiences in the choirs.
Yeah.
And all of that.
And the diversified music. I mean, we didn't listen to just all R&B or pop or anything. We listened to spirituals. We had hymnals. We grew up in the Presbyterian church, actually, and those were hymns, you know, and jazz, and we just listened. We just had a diversified music upbringing.
Yeah, that level of appreciation.
And a level of appreciation.
For all styles of music.
Yes, that's it. Classical.
I think this next question kind of segues into it. Sean Mack asked, how big of an influence did gospel quartets?
It was never anything that we would have to work for. It was just another form of music that we involved with. If we got a call to do whatever it was. I mean, if it was from foreign languages, we were on top, out of the top 10 charts in Mexico. We were on 8 of the top 10 at one time, singing in Spanish, which we were able to do phonically and stuff like that. And so that also helped to our approach toward what types of music, because we could do any kind. We could do musical theater to all the way from Andre Crouch to Ozzy Osbourne, and get in there and really give it a go. Yeah, from the heart too, not just faking.
Oh boy.
You know, good music, you can't lose good. I'm sorry about that.
And did you
What did you say?
Perform?
Was that you, Stephen, or Anthony?
Anthony.
Did you actually?
No,
not live.
Did you actually perform with Ozzy Osbourne? So what? Throw out a few of the extreme
Bon Jovi
types of music. I think that would be kind of interesting to hear.
Queen, Guns N' Roses,
Aerosmith. Yeah.
Queen?
It's
wow.
Oh, outside of the studio, you said?
Live or in the studio?
Oh, this was studio work.
Studio.
No,
but we did travel with Paul Simon.
Studio? Did you
and Neil Diamond.
Neil Diamond.
John Fogerty.
Yeah.
Patty.
Yeah.
No.
Somebody asked, did you ever
perform? You know, we did a couple of TV shows with him, but never on the stage. He had a special group of people that, you know, because at that time we were doing a lot of studio work. So he had his other people that did the live work with him, but we did do TV work with him. Some of the TV specials that he was on, we did do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In town.
It's kind of
Someone
hard to
asked
say, right?
Remember which
yeah.
tracks you were
But
on?
Aerosmith and all of that kind of stuff, you know, it's
It's
been
okay.
a long track, a long, good, prosperous track.
Yeah. I think U2, with
We gotta
U2, was
look
it
that
Still
up and
Haven't
we'll
Found
let
What
you
We're
know.
Looking For on that
Fine.
album? I think that was the album, but I'm not sure. But I'm pretty sure, actually.
Okay, can you say that question again?
Oh, no, it's just me commenting on when you did your work with U2. It was on the album that they have that iconic song of theirs, Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
AB Zipper asked, was there a moment of prayer before any moment?
For a lot of groups, we
before
did.
the
We
moment
did.
you
We
were
would stand in a
Absolutely.
circle and
You
hold
guys-
hands and say a prayer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And with the wisdom and knowledge that if something started to go awry, we take a minute and be aware that we needed to pray.
Yeah.
So prayer is not only a big part of being in the studio, prayer is a big part of our walk in life.
That's it.
Period. Yeah. And so those are the moments, because a lot of times the challenge is not the music, that a lot of times the challenge can be what's in here.
Yeah.
And so that's very important, not only then, but also today, that we guard our minds, as the word tells us to do.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Very important. Great question. And thanks for asking that.
Can you,
Hey, Stephen, what?
can you guys, Anthony, can you see them?
That was
I'm
AB
only
Zipper.
getting the,
He's always in here.
we can't, we're only getting the top of her head.
No, I can't. But I wanted to ask you one thing to add, Stephen, that you could add. Didn't you say, like, about Quincy sometimes talking about
wouldn't
leaving
be
room for God
surprised
in
if
the
Quincy
studio?
said that, but yeah, maybe Maxine.
Yeah, Quincy
Yeah.
would also
Maybe
say
Matt
that.
Yeah,
said
maybe
it. Didn't you? I thought
maybe Maxine experienced that on a heavier level than me and Julia, but God is always a part of it. There's never any part of it that God is not, you know. And so that's how we were raised.
Yes. And you're saying a prayer, we've always prayed, even if we weren't in the studio, we would pray that we would go in and that we would bless the artists and the producers and give them the sound and that they were looking for. And, you know, so we prayed that it would all gel together, that our talents would gel together, you know. So we would pray separately a lot too, you know, as we still do.
Well, it's no wonder so many people love working with you.
That's
You
it.
bring so much goodness to
Yes.
It's like beyond the music. And I think that's why you work with everybody. You know, everybody loves the experience.
Well, thank you.
It's like the music's a given
Well,
for you guys because you're
that's
so
a blessing.
talented. But then
And to
clean up
also,
the
since
feeling.
we're talking about spiritual things, spiritual, the spiritual experience in the studio is very important, because there was a time that, and still it exists to this day, but it seems like it was more prevalent of the spiritual part of coming together in collaboration to create a work of art. And so even the vibrations in the rooms and the genius of those producers, like Michael and Quincy, since those are the ones we're talking about right now, but Smokey Robinson and Lamont Dozier and a lot of the Motown people, and not only the Motown people, Phil Spector, they possessed the ability to pull things out of the air.
Because that's where their talents came from, or
Yeah.
that's where their talents, just like we were given a God-given talent, they were given a God-given talent. And to bring those talents together, you know, and biblically it says to come together in agreement. And when you can, and that was a part of coming together in agreement.
That's right.
With what was going to happen in that studio, you
That's
know.
right.
And we always, you know, we always put ourselves like, this is not Michael Jackson's song alone. We've got to put ourselves in. It's like it's our song.
That's right.
Yeah.
Too, you know. And so that you go in there and you knew you were going to do good music and gel together in agreement that it would all come out and be a success for that particular artist. You always wanted it to be a success for that artist and that producer that's spending hours and hours and hours. When you're producing and you're an artist, you're in the studio for endless hours.
That's right.
You know, us as we would go in, and I would always say that we were putting the icing on the cake or whatever. You know, I don't know if that's the right way to put it, but I said our vocals were the icing on the cake, because by the time we got in, the song was already created. The music basically was already down. They might have had, you know, some little tidbits that they had to fix up and stuff, but we were actually one of the last things to go on the song before you got to mixing and all the other stuff that you producers do.
Yeah.
You know.
You point the camera down. I can't. Yeah, and keep it there because I'm not seeing your faces.
Oh.
I want everyone to see your beautiful faces.
I'm looking at anything.
There we go.
Get it there.
Okay,
It might have
beautiful.
just been cutting
Yeah.
them off a little before Stephen on yours, but I could see them the whole time. I thought this was a fun question. Tell us about DJ who asked, tell us about Wannabe starting something in the session. What was it like?
What
Do you guys remember the
made
day
it different
particularly,
about
or
our
was it just like one of the
initial,
other sessions?
Contribution to Wannabe starting something? We did it at Michael's house. So it was his studio there at the house, the demo that we did with him. And that was felt a little bit different because our normal experience was in Mo West recording studio or Capitol or a different major recording studios. So this was up close and personal with Michael at his home, just us, and we had the opportunity to not only be in that environment, but to also walk the grounds of his house and look at the llamas and see his relationship with the animals. And that is something that to this day is a relationship with birds and different animals and stuff like that, because he possessed a certain calmness of his spirit, I think, that made him receptive to the animals, and they seemed like they also had appreciation for his gentle spirit, because he definitely had a gentle, kind spirit, and that is something that anybody, I think, that has ever been around him would have to say, yeah. And so that made it a little bit different experience, in my humble opinion, just to be right there with Mike, and we just like kicking it, you know. And so that was a lot of fun.
Now you re-recorded it at Westlake, right?
Yes,
Definitely.
That was just the demo at his house, but I guess it was an idea, because we weren't running buddies with Michael or anything, but you know, but we just connected musically and family wise, because he did have that appreciation, because we were a family group, and we had an appreciation for him and his family, you know, with even his sisters, Janet, because we did a couple of songs for his Janet, and we did also LaToya, a couple of her songs. So, you know, Jermaine. So we worked with all of them, you know. Like I said, we weren't running buddies, but we just connected musically with that family.
Yeah. And so many Jackson songs you were on.
Yes.
Yeah, it's true. Quite a few that is a great honor, really. Yeah. Because they were like, the Jackson 5 were killing it.
Yeah.
They were smoking hit after hit after hit. And so to hear those records on the radio after you have done them and stuff like that, it just truly magnifies your blessings, really. That's how I felt about it.
I thought they were just truly a blessed family, because all of them were very talented in their right. You know, it's their father, you know, I could understand him. I always had an appreciation for their father, for what he did for them, because he taught them how to be
performers. Be professionals, especially because our father had given his life. We're a Gold Star family, and we're just mentioning that again, but also I think that gave us an appreciation to be around fathers, and that father figure that we always had to look somewhere else to really find within our own selves. You know, I know that's one thing that I would do, is always look to the fathers, and quite naturally by our mother being so courageous and strong and dedicated to us too.
And talented.
And talented. That created an appreciation, and I think that's what Julia was alluding to, that to see their father, although he got a lot of criticism for being hard, but guess what? We were used to hard because our father was hard. You know what I'm saying? And so it really wasn't a problem to be around strong women.
He wanted to see his family be successful,
Yes.
and guess what?
Yeah, he did.
They are.
Yeah.
They are a successful family. Still are. When I listen to the Thriller, I say I can't believe that it is 40 years that I mean, because the music you hear it now, and it's still a household name.
Yeah.
I mean, household name now.
Yeah.
And you know, they always had a good song. You know, you guys got to sing on, because that starts there, like to have you know, content that's expressive and that means something and that holds up. You know, because then you have something to work with, and they always found the songs, or the songs found them.
Right.
I mean, do you have any thoughts on that?
The great writers there at Motown, Willie Hutch, and just so many. We name them all day, like once again Smokey or Lamont Dozier, Holland Dozier and Holland, and all of those type of people would be on the grounds, would be in the studio. There were 2 studios in there, Sunrise and Sunset, and there were always things going on. Hal Davis, and just so
producer,
many.
Yeah.
And Rod Temperton, when it gets to Thriller. I mean,
yes.
Well, also Off the Wall. You know, that's all like the Rod period where, and he, like you said, he was always there. Like that's the thing, Michael. Like the songwriter would be there. That's not always common. You know, be there for every step of the way, like helping the artists along and changing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Rod was a rare writer because he was also a really talented arranger, and he would come so prepared. When, you know, when he came over with his demos, and it was just, you know, he really had it thought out, you know, and it was just, and besides, he was just such a beautiful spirit. You know.
Yes.
That's the thing about
Norman Whitfield.
Norman Whitfield. Yep. Oh yeah.
That's what made it so. That's why it sounds like today's music.
Yeah.
Because it was good music, and it still is good music.
Yeah.
It's music that you can relate back to with the words, and that's so important.
Yes, indeed. Also, Berry Gordy would groom his artists and teach them choreography and how to dress and how to move and things like that with professional people.
Yeah.
And that, of course, translated to great performances on the stage because they had the awesome stage presence. Marvin Gaye and Junior Walker and all of these kind of people were great performers as well. The Temptations, the
Four Tops,
the Four Tops, the Supremes. They would go to school and really have it right, you know.
And Diana Ross too, and they would like. It was like a school in a way.
Yes, absolutely, Anthony. And the importance of it was then when you go on the stage, you're a performer. You just didn't wake up and go out on the stage and, you know what I mean, everything is good. No. Be that entertainer. Have that type of charisma. And so as Michael developed that from a young child, that's who turned him into the icon that he is today.
A quadruple threat.
That's
what I call it.
Yes, indeed.
He could do everything.
All of it.
Yeah, Suzanne DePass played a big role in that.
Yeah.
Especially Jacksons when they were young. And she played a big part in that.
She's an awesome lady and a nice lady, you know, but she was brilliant. She's brilliant. Haven't seen her in years, you know, but I'm sure she's still being blessed.
Yes.
And so that teamwork, guys, that still shows itself, and the unique approach to it, instead of maybe one person in control of this or that. No, they had a team of individuals, each one very professional, each one very focused, and each one very capable of doing their job well.
And then you had Michael, who was a sponge, because every time he'd see
Yes,
a move, he could do it.
He learned, he
Vocal,
looked, and
do
he,
it. Even
yes,
filmmaking, he started having visual ideas, and he
yes.
wanted to express them. And he found a way, met the right business people, and he learned about business. And then he was able to convince the money people to make these videos and do amazing visual things
I've
too.
changed music videos
He
forever.
changed everything that an artist could be, go beyond just the record, you know, and the live performance.
absolutely.
Something that lasts, like it's timeless, like a time capsule, like having these things on film.
That's why I call him a quadruple threat.
Yeah,
Because, you know, because his videos were like movies. You'd be watching and you're saying, that's a movie. I'd be watching as a movie. Like,
yeah.
well, look at that. Look what they're doing. Oh, wow. You know, so it's quadruple threat. You know, people talk about triple, but he was a quadruple threat because he did learn from other people. And he taught, and then he taught other people also by just watching him.
I thought
His work ethics were unsurpassed. I don't know anybody with work ethics that like he had.
Yeah, no, his work ethic was daily.
Yeah.
For sure.
I thought this was an interesting question. 28 Design asks, are there any projects that you guys are still actively working on right now?
One of the most recent ones was the Fallout Boy.
Oh, wow.
And that was really a lot of fun. That was really a lot of fun. There are awesome individuals in there, and it was just a lot of fun to do that. And also Macklemore,
Oh, wow.
to his new record. So
You guys
We're not in the studio like we used to be, you know. I don't know if anybody is, but when we get them, we get some good ones, you know.
What were
And
your
there's some
weeks
talented-
like back in
talented
the
people.
Thriller days?
what were your weeks like?
Very talented people out there.
That would that's how we cut our teeth. I'll put it like that. The amount of time we would be in the studio, because sometimes we would be in there all night. We would be going home in the morning and people would just be going to work. It was that kind of dedication that we cut our teeth on. Back in the day, how today you can fly different parts of the music if it's not modulations or tempo changes and things like that. But back in the day, we would sing the whole doggone song. We would sing the whole song. And so that strengthens your voice. It strengthens you mentally. And it also teaches you a lesson as far as realizing what it takes to really do what you got to do. And so that was a great learning experience, not only for them, but for us as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I also heard that you would often, over the years, you would sing the line for the singer, you know, depending on the artist, and they would mimic your vocal as an example, you know, because you all of you were so brilliant and had so much experience, you know, and that's a great thing. That's a really great thing.
That's nice of you to say that, because their face and their name is on the marquee.
Right.
Yeah.
And so because jealousy or envy or anything like that has never been a part of who we are. And so we could give freely. So if you could hear certain parts of the song, maybe that was the vocalist was struggling with, we would automatically do things to support the phrase or the pitch or whatever else we would have to do.
Yeah.
We didn't have to do that a lot with Michael, though.
No.
So,
No.
but we would do that without looking for any credit, or this is not our record, so why should we do that? That attitude has never been a part of who we are. So,
because I've heard, we used to hear people say, I'm not giving away what I can do, but you're not them. What are you giving away? You're not giving away anything. All you're doing is helping. All you're doing is contributing. And, you know, and that's the way that we did look at it. I know one thing that we did, we ghosted Whitney Houston
Greatest Love.
Greatest Love, but that's only because of the sound that Michael Master was looking for. So every line, if you listen, you hear the voices in the back. That's us ghosting her all the way.
Wow.
And Miss Houston could hold her own.
Yeah.
Because to me, she is one of the greatest female singers that you will ever hear.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yes.
I agree.
Well, I mean, it's all great people coming together. But as much as Michael could do everything, he still had you guys on Thriller. You're the only other singers on the album. So
that
could deliver something another level that just makes that song. I mean, when that it's so
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That was such an honor to go in
Yes.
there and work with that young man. I tell you, that was such an honor. And his demeanor, his everything, said thank you.
Yeah.
He appreciated it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we appreciated it, and we felt very honored because, like I said, he was even back then he was already a household name.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you couldn't mention Michael Jackson and people would say who. They knew who it was.
Right.
Yeah, he couldn't even go out the door.
No,
I mean,
he couldn't.
No.
No.
No. Which was a very important aspect of his life that I know I always think about, and it comes up quite a bit too, because there was a price he had to pay.
Yeah.
There was a price he had to pay.
Yeah.
well, it got steep. Yeah, that was not.
So I'm honored, as Julia said, to have been a part of it, to see it. It also not only was good for him, it was also good for us.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
I thought this was an interesting question. Somebody asked earlier in the chat, did you guys double a lot of your parts when you did the recordings? Like when we're listening on the tracks, are they like large stacks of you guys?
Go ahead, Julia.
Yeah, it just depended on the song, but for the most part, you do double track even today, because what the double it does is smooth the vocals out, and that's what that does. But some people just want that what they call a raw sound, where you just go in and you do the one track. But I'm an advocate for double it, at least. Double it, because it smooths it out, just smooths out everything that could be a flaw in there for the record, for the album, or for the song rather.
Yes, it really depends on the style of music.
Exactly.
As Julia said, sometimes you just want the rawness of it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't want the perfection.
Exactly.
I remember going to a recording session, and the producer said, all that studying music that you guys did and all this refined vocals that you guys are able to do, we don't want that. We just want the raw sound, and which through our experience in music and in life, we're able to do that. We were able to do that with no problem. It just depends on what you wanted to create, the vibration that you wanted to create with the music. And this gives me the opportunity to say right now that because of that, the magic in the music, they used to say music would calm the savage beast. And that is so true, because there were magical moments that would happen in the studio, even though the person that may have come up with the idea were astonished at the magical moments. I heard, I can't remember who they were just talking the other day, and they said when the chemistry of the people in the room even changes, you can feel that, because of the experience of what that music, what melodies create, and the blending of the individuals there create. It was just something that I used to feel a lot, and now I don't think we feel it as much.
And I really think technically you guys did a lot with a lot less than we have now, because we weren't afforded the amount of tracks you can have now.
Yes.
Back on Thriller, they were locking up multiple 24 tracks, but still, by the time you guys came in, like you said earlier, you're at the end. Yeah. And there's not a lot of tracks. It's not like, here's like 20 tracks, go ahead.
You just get that maybe one double.
Yeah, that's it. They have to get it right. And it's not as easy to punch.
And you can't fly the
You
doubles.
can't
You have
slide.
to, yeah.
They can't slide it and get it like locked. These guys were singing it like dead on and with the right.
Thanks, Anthony. I'm glad that part came up because it's not double to hide anything.
No.
It's just double to color
To color.
a certain color. Because guess what? If we do it, it's gonna be done right. If there was one
double has it. Yeah.
Okay, let me get that. Interject that right.
That's true.
Thanks for saying that,
That's
Anthony.
true.
Well, I will say I remember I still very vividly remember the look, and even where he was standing in the studio when they did the playback after you stacked your vocals. The look on Michael's face when he started dancing, when he heard the playback with Bruce, the way Bruce mixed those vocals, I can see his face, that huge smile, and him starting. It was just
You remember
the
what
energy.
song, Stephen?
Starting.
On Wanna Be
Starting
Starting.
something.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be
When
pretty happy if that was my album. I'd be glad.
You know, when he had gotten it like he heard in his head,
Right.
that's another thing. You know, you pray that whatever that the artist is hearing in his head, you want that to say, that's it.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted.
Well,
That's what I heard
Yeah.
in my
Better.
head.
Yeah.
And you guys better, because that's why you're there. Is to take that idea and translate it and you make it better, I think.
Well, Anthony, you did a pretty good job yourself there.
You know, that was a good.
By the way.
Yeah, that was another thing that I liked about, the team that worked with Michael, because some of those musicians, not some of the musicians, all of those musicians were like the bomb, is what I call them.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
They were great. They were fantastic because they were able to achieve with the instruments what we are blessed to have achieved with our vocals. You know, so the whole thing, it takes more than the one person. It takes that whole team to make it work.
That's right.
And from the musicians on, you know, he was able to put him and Quincy, you know, the team that he used were able to put it together, and that's why they came out with that hit music. I mean, from little boys, from the, like you say, the Jackson 5. It was a team. It wasn't one person.
Yeah, I haven't talked to one person as big a name as they are, the musicians, that didn't say this, that they were all at awe. They were in awe of everybody else.
That's right.
And everybody says that because you're just like, wow. Everybody said, wow, I get to be here.
That's it. And that's it. That was the feeling. We get to be here with these fabulous musicians.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, we did it, you know, apart, but still sing on the same track that they played on.
Yeah.
And they gave us the feel, when you would hear the drums and you would hear the guitar and the keyboards and stuff, you said, whoa, you can tune into any of that and just get the feeling of what you're supposed to be doing.
I saw this question earlier and I thought it was interesting. Did you guys ever work on your own solo music, or did you ever have a plan to do that?
We worked on it. In fact, we have our label right now, Water Wheel Records Inc. We've had that since the 80s, and but we were on Arista. We were the first vocal group to be signed to Blue Note Records.
Wow.
You know, we were doing a lot of jazz for, you know, and the producer at that time, Keg Johnson, said, you know, you guys are on all of this music at Blue Note. You need to become a group. And so we were the very first vocal group signed to Blue Note Records at the time.
So we also with Warner Brothers.
And
Arista.
And a little short time with Motown.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
But it just never happened for us as a, you know, as solo artists. But it happened for us in the, you know, behind the scenes. But we had to, we still thought we were bad.
Well, and not only, we're most noted for doing backup.
That's it.
That's not all that we did.
No.
You know, that's not all we did.
A lot of stage performances. That's where we learned how to perform on stage, because now we did all of the singing for Fame, you know, the TV show Fame.
Oh, wow.
That's us doing all of that singing, all of the singing. And then they had the dancers, and we traveled, and we did go on tour with them and Debbie Allen.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, we traveled with Patti LaBelle. We traveled with Bon Jovi and Don Henley. We traveled with
John
Paul
Fogerty.
Simon, Neil Diamond.
Mm-hmm.
So we did a variety. We did a lot of work in our early part of career working in Vegas. We would be in Vegas maybe 6 months out of a year. We worked with people like Diane Carroll, Buddy Greco, Jimmy Webb,
Wow.
the Doodletown Pipers. I mean, I could just name on and on the stuff that we did, and that's how we learned how to do stage work. Because I don't like to pat our own selves on the back, but we can perform. Also, along with doing the studio work, we can also stand on the stage and perform for you.
And a lot of TV show themes, the Jeffersons, the Good Times, Love Boat, Chippendales Rescue Rangers, and quite a few. Quite a few other ones. And by the way,
have a big break?
Say that again.
Did you guys have a break in the industry?
I've never had a vacation in my life. Never. The only time we'd be like if we were in Bali or somewhere and the rest of the band would go home, you could choose to stay there and just relax for a minute. But other than that, I've never had a vacation in my life. And I get a lot of criticism for that too. Because they say you need to stop. But guess what? No matter where you go, you're still there anyway. And so with music being such a big part of your life, if we were doing something, it was still there in your head anyway. So I can close my eyes right now and take myself to wherever I want to go.
You know, for Paul Simon's tour, we went out, we toured, he's one of the longest tours, and we were gone 18 months. I think we were home maybe 8 weeks in that 18 months. And we went all over the world. So we've been all over the world maybe 4 or 5 times. Wow. I mean, we've gone to 6 of the 7 continents, right? We've gone to 6 of them.
Go to the North Pole.
Antarctica, yeah.
Right. That's the only one. That's the only one.
Antarctica.
That's the only one. That's the only one.
You gotta.
So we've been very blessed. We've been very blessed.
So how do you repeat it because they're breaking up?
Oh,
okay. Say it again.
You guys hear us still?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I think you're going to get that Santa gig, and then you can cover that continent pretty soon.
I want to go to the Antarctica. I don't think I missed that. It's cold here in LA, and actually we're a bunch of wimps out here. It's freezing.
Yeah, I mean, in case you guys don't know, the Waters family is from South Central LA. They came up here, and they're one of the gems of LA.
Yep.
Yeah, right by the railroad tracks, as a matter of fact. Right by the railroad tracks. 115th and San Pedro. Our address, by the way, since we're talking about this, was 314 East 115th Street. And when you look at Colossians 3:14, it says, above all, clothe yourself with love that binds everything together in perfect harmony.
There you go.
Boom. And that's another thing.
Too many coincidences, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Too many.
Absolutely.
Lauren is good at coming up with those, and we all say, oh, yeah, that's right.
Because it's the truth.
Yeah.
And when you have eyes to see miracles and hear miracles, with ears to see, ears to hear them, and eyes to see them, you will hear them and see them.
Yeah.
You really, I mean, that's me, and I already know I'm crazy. So if anybody thinks I'm crazy, you're really finding out that I am. Because I do. I look at things like that.
Yeah,
I look at divine order is an effect.
It is.
And we should think positive thoughts and good things all the time.
But Lauren, what a pleasure to have someone showing up in the studio that's got their eyes on that, because that's what you're shooting for.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you're living it.
Yes.
It's not something you just turn on and turn off. It's something that you live.
I was just gonna say to that point, what people brought into the room when Anthony and I started talking about doing this, you know, the stories in a room. But it's also what we talked about with Matt, and we spoke. You know, we talked about this with you all as well. Is what the energy that people brought to the room. They leave, they come back. They leave, they come back. When you have multiple session players coming through during the day, and late at night. It's the energy that we talked about with Matt was just so loving, and Quincy and had this ability to empower people and make them feel safe and loved and supported. So no one felt like they weren't worried about making a mistake or any of that. I mean, because him and Michael made everybody feel loved and appreciated for their talent and their humanity. You know, more important, their humanity.
Yes.
Yeah, that was Quincy. You know, he really was the gatekeeper for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because of his knowledge of music. You know, he just is
all of it.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, we would start every day with a hug.
Yeah.
Every morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
that's the first time I have experienced that. Like day one, I didn't know the person, and wow, I'm like, okay, this is something different.
Yeah.
I saw this question earlier. It was, are there any artists that you never got the chance to work with, or ones that are currently out that you do want to work with?
We never got a chance to work with Prince.
Mm-hmm.
And Prince, I love Prince.
Yeah.
I always said I would like to work with him because of his energy, and plus we were born a day apart.
Wow.
You know, and I said, oh, he's got my energy. You know, but he's one that I wish that I had the opportunity to work with. I don't know about.
I played basketball with him, but
yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh yeah, I did too. I did as well.
Yeah, over at Sunset Sound.
Sunset.
Over at Sunset Sound, but we had a good time.
Yeah.
But
I heard you put some heels on.
yes, exactly, Anthony.
He was another genius, you know. Prince was good.
God rest his soul.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Yep.
What else you got?
I mean, it's just a lot of questions. Like, did you work with this person? Did you work with this person? We covered a lot of them. Guns N' Roses. Did you guys ever work with Luther Vandross? There's a lot of people asking about that.
Yeah. We've worked with Luther. Luther produced several things that we worked on. Never did anything. We did a couple of TV shows with him and a couple of things that he produced, but he also had his special group of singers who were awesome, who, you know.
We're friends with them to this day, too.
Yes. So, but we never did his records, his albums.
But you did a live.
We did we did a couple of live things, a couple of TV things that specials with Luther, and a couple of things that he, like I said, that he produced.
God rest his soul.
Yeah, he was another awesome boy. Could he sing? He's another one. When you listen to his music, you know, if you start with a good song, like you said earlier, I think you can't go wrong because it lives on forever.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Absolutely. And since we're taking a moment to talk about things in music and stuff, I just want to interject this. You guys could edit it out later. But one of the things that I think that shouldn't.
This is live.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say it anyway.
Go ahead.
We should not have taken music out of the schools.
Yeah.
That was a total and complete mistake.
Yeah.
Yes.
Never have done that. That ability to go and get an instrument and take it home to your mama, have her write a little note for you, and you get the instrument and get home. That saved a lot of us. And so I hope that through our conversations that we re-implement music into the schools.
Yeah.
I think that was a tremendous mistake.
Well, that's where a lot of our training and experiences, because back then you would have the original plays like West Side Story and all of those other things that would be produced in the school system. And if you're if you were a part of that music industry, just environment, you were in there with like-minded people and all of that. So that has gotten lost.
The form of expression.
Expression.
Yeah,
That's it.
From playing the instruments and stuff like that.
That's
so
it.
I just wanted to make sure that that was said too.
That's okay to say.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, when they become adults, kids, they don't often, you stop getting that experience, because when you're an adult, you start thinking, oh, I can't do this. I'm not really that talented. Kids just believe they can do anything. You know, who can draw? I can. Who can act? I can. You know, who can fly? You know, you have imagination. So if you give a kid an experience early when they believe in themselves, then they have that, and they can recall. I believe that as they get older in life, they remember it, and it serves you.
So
yes,
true.
yes. It leads to once again, just to reiterate, to the capacity to express yourself. How do you feel? What color do you want on your painting? Mm-hmm. How do you want the song to go? You know, and all of that's very important. So you're not caught up trying to be anybody other than who you are. Being who you are is okay. You know, and I think that is music and art and song plays and everything like that, stage plays, gives a young person or even older people the opportunity to express themselves. Right. Yeah. Like the Watts 103rd Street, express yourself.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's important as a singer, though. You kind of have to find your voice. I mean, I'm not a singer, and I don't know that I really found, you know, through all this experience that you're talking about, and you do it through practice, you know, like anything, like religion, whatever it is. Practice is the key to accomplishment, and you find your voice. And I think, like, a lot of the stuff you're saying, singing at the level you guys sing, it's beyond just like doing vocal exercises. It's finding more to it, right? Like, who are you? The meaning of what you're doing.
Yeah. You know, I don't ever remember not singing. I never remember not singing.
That's true.
Because we always had music, and we would sing everything. Yeah. You know, we would, as kids, we would get in the, we lived in a house that had a narrow hallway, and it was a mirror on the back of the bathroom door. And it was, you know, just a thin mirror, as thin as the door. And we would get in that mirror almost every day, mother included, and put on the music, and we would start singing and dancing and prancing, and then start fighting, because then we would start pushing each other out the way who wanted to be in the front. You know, and so I never remember not singing.
Me either.
Yeah.
And we didn't always sing together. We grew up singing. Oren was in doo-wop groups. I was in another group. Maxine was in another group. Luther was in a you know, so you met your friends and you said, okay, let's get in a group. Let's have a group, you know, and till we finally started doing things together. And then Keg said, why are you guys doing this? Do this, you know, what the story about the how we were the first vocal group for Blue Note. But other than that, I never remembered somebody not singing.
Right. They say, were you singing when you went to church? We were singing before church.
Yeah.
Elementary school had groups and stuff like that. So that's how long it's been. That's a good point, Julia. That's something that I always think. And not hearing harmony notes and stuff like that. That's something I thought everybody could hear harmony notes and hold their parts. And I got grown, and I asked one day, can anybody hear that? And they were like, no, we don't hear that. Right. And that was surprising to me.
But that was the music appreciation that we had. And again, back to the school, when they had music appreciation, and you would go in there and you would sit in your classroom, and you put on the classical. The teacher most of the time would put on a classical song and say, okay, now who hears the cello? Who hears the violin? Who hears the this? Who hears the that? And so you get tuned into these different instruments also. And I think that helped us a lot. The music appreciation in the classrooms.
Absolutely.
Yeah. In elementary, at that. I remember.
Yeah.
Elementary.
That's right.
Exactly.
I was in
Exactly, Stephen. Elementary school. And that's a credit. That's once again a credit to those that have gone before us. Right. You know, and that's another thing that's very humbling in my mind. Yeah. That because through those great teachers that guided us you know, kudos to them.
Do you have a
Yeah.
specific mentor that you want to talk about?
Doris Novell, who was our choir director. We were blessed to have a wonderful choir director at the church that we attended. You know, when we were in growing up, and she was a piano teacher, a music teacher, and I took vocals and a little piano. And if I played the piano, you would say, "Julia, get out of here." But Maxine took piano and got the family piano because she really excelled at playing the piano. Orrin and Luther took the piano, and the three of them also took cello.
Mm-hmm.
So you're listening. And to me, the basic of learning, of tuning and learning parts too. If you can get into that and play, I say take your piano lessons first. You can go into those other instruments. That's good. But to me, the piano is your basic instrument for,
like you said, tuning, you want to be in pitch,
everything. Yes,
you
everything.
know, and all of that kind of stuff.
But Doris Novell,
God rest her soul.
yeah,
It's almost like those moments like teach us how to think musically.
yeah,
Yeah.
You know, overall.
yeah,
Yes.
And
Yeah.
like, but
Yes.
you said, Dante, earlier, you did it was kind of quiet what you said, but it's like learning how to listen. Because they're like when
Yes.
I'm talking about harmony, you learn how to listen so you can hear the inner voices in things. And then when you listen to music, you're able to, that's how these guys, like I can't tell you how many times I've been in the studio with the Waters and they throw down a choir, like just without any parts written.
that's it.
Because they hear all the inner voices
Yeah.
and they
Hear
remember
all
them.
the inner
They
voices.
visualize them though. That's what I think. You guys see them in some way because you don't forget the part and then you know what it's going to be. And then in the end, you hear it like build and then like, wow, that sounds like a whole choir.
Yeah.
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 Thank you.
That goes back
Thank
to,
you,
for us, it goes back to what Orrin said earlier too, about the different parts, the soprano, the alto, the baritone and the bass, you know, that's your four parts right there.
And that's the beauty of the piano, because those 80s, you can hear all of that.
You
You can hear, you know, was that, you know, as they say, as Quincy always says, there's only 12 notes. What are you gonna do with them?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You know, it's so funny because I always tell them when we go in the studio now, sometimes I'll say, well, I know my part. For the most part is lead is a lead part. So but those inner parts, like the part that Maxine sings and the part that Orrin sings, those are very, very, very instrumental in really making those harmonies gel.
Yeah.
Because inner parts are the parts that are harder to hear.
Yeah.
You're mostly singing the melody, right?
Yes, I mostly sing the melody. That's what I'm trying to say. So I always say, I got my part already. You know, because I'm the soprano.
Well, this is like, this hour went quickly. I hope everybody's appreciative of what we had here today. It's a rare opportunity to hear some very candid, insightful, spontaneous, you know, dialogue with the Waters family, who has such a unique view and experience of a very important period in music. So thank you guys.
Yes.
We're so happy to have had you here today on Stories in the Room.
Yeah.
Thank you. God
Thank
bless
you, Steve. Thank
It's
you.
such an honor.
Everyone, make sure to subscribe for the YouTube channel. Episodes are dropping very soon. The date is coming very soon.
That's true. We'll be able to announce that in a couple of days.
A couple days.
Yeah.
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 Hear the long episodes.
Yeah.
I know. I'm not really trying.
Thank you to everyone for joining.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Enjoy the
All right.
weekend.